We on
Live.
live. We're live.
I got his player's card.
We're live, Rich.
Okay.
D, that was kind of low.
Yeah,
But listen,
I have no idea.
good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, November the 20th, 2025. We are roll call, black, white, and blue for better relations. We're a little light today, but we're here. I got Ty Green with us. I got Will Quick. I got D Schoon. I got Mark Matthews. I got Rich Jordan. I got Dave Kennard. AC just checked in with us. Jim is coming on a little bit later, and others may join us as we're in action. But we want to get started with a moment of silence, and we're going to have a disclaimer. I will do, and Rich will do the statement of purpose. Thank you so much for that, D. Our disclaimer this afternoon, we are roll call, black, white, and blue for better relations. Please note that the comments expressed and concerns made by members of roll call, black, white, blue for better relations here in roll call panel are the opinions of the individual and not offered or intended to be legal advice, recommendations, or suggestions for leaders, for listeners, and our observers. This panel may display graphic, videos, and photographs that are integral to or to spark discussion. These videos or photographs are not intended to offend any viewer or listener. A panel member will give notice to the audience as to the nature prior to displaying any graphic or sensitive video or photograph. Any graphic content displayed during the panel discussion has been obtained and shared from public social media platforms and is not the property of roll call. The language used by members of roll call and guests is spontaneous, it is uncensored, and is not intended to offend anyone in our audience. Rich?
Hey, thank you, Rev. Once again, we're a roll call, black, white, and blue for better relations. We're a pro law enforcement group. We're for equitable policing. We're against racism, and black and brown lives matter. If you're here with us today, come up on the chat, and you have any questions, we'll try to answer them for you. We're glad you're here. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We want to get started right away. Well, let me say, we're still praying for JT in Orlando. We're still praying for Cheech and Anna Mark Matthews, we're still praying for him, and now he's under the weather again, but we're still praying for you, Mark. We're praying for all of our families and friends, and as we prepare for Thanksgiving, I pray that you all have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, and always remember that one day out of the year, every day is a day of Thanksgiving. We ought to give thanks every day, just to be alive, just to be in the land. Listen to this, just to be in the land of the dying, on our way to the land of the living. And I got that from my good friend Reverend Frank Ray that says that listen, we dying only takes place down here, living takes place up there. So we're in the land of the dying, on our way to the land of the living. All right. So let us get started, D, with which one you want to go with first? Which one did we say?
We're gonna go with the New Jersey cop first.
That's fine. New Jersey
All
cop
right.
that
Oh,
um
just real
goes to
quick,
get something to eat.
Don, if you can check, I'll make sure we're on Facebook. I didn't.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
We are.
Okay. Okay. For some
I have the
reason, I'm not.
comments, Don.
I'm not picking it up. But anyway, there was a case in Jersey where a New Jersey sergeant was slow to get to a murder scene. Let's take a look.
A recurring guest on the show stopped at ATM and pizzeria instead of investigating double murder.
Now to some breaking news. A Franklin Township police sergeant has been charged in connection with the response to the deadly August shooting of Lawrence Amanchik and Tyler Webb. Sergeant Kevin Bellaro is now charged with official misconduct and tampering with records. He's accused of receiving a 911 call for shots fired in the area, but instead of driving in the opposite direction, he rather drove in the opposite direction to make an ATM transaction. Investigators say Samanchek's ex-boyfriend, New Jersey State Trooper Richard Santos, killed the couple before turning the gun on himself.
It's been a banner year for New Jersey law enforcement. What you thought? You let the killer work it out of his system? No sense in 3 people getting shot, right? How courageous of you. You do the badge proud. What charged with misconduct after prosecutors say he didn't quickly respond to and properly investigate reports of a shooting that turned out to be a double murder, instead stopping at an ATM and pizzeria. I can't sit here and tell you that I think it's all officers, but when you get these handful of cops that behave like this, it makes you all look terrible. Franklin Township Police Sergeant, we're talking about a veteran here, Kevin Bellaro, was the on-duty officer on the evening of August 1st when police received 911 calls reporting gunshots and screaming in Pittstown, about 60 miles from Manhattan in central New Jersey, according to Hunterdon County Prosecutor Renee Robeson's office. But rather than responding immediately, prosecutors say GPS data and surveillance video show Bellaro drove nearly 2 miles in the opposite direction of the caller's location to a bank ATM.
They have contact with all of the resources that someone who is subjected to abuse might reach out to. They have contact with all of the shelters. They know where the shelters are. They work with the shelters on a regular basis. They are in courtrooms on a regular basis. And so if you went to a judge and asked for a protective order or asked for a prosecution, these are judges and prosecutors who are working with these officers every day. They are parts of the system that we have entrusted with the safety of victims of intimate partner violence. And because they are parts of that system, it is very, very difficult to protect people whose abusers are police officers.
At this point, anything is possible. I wouldn't even put it past him and a few of his law enforcement buddies having an unofficial red flag on the house or being.
All right, we're gonna do away with that one.
Okay, yeah, that was a little choppy. Your mic is a little low, D. I don't know if you're aware of it. Your mic is low.
As soon as we started. Okay.
The video was good.
Okay. How's that good?
Oh, much better. Much better. But you have something you want to say, D, before I get to Dave?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a little, because of the video was a little choppy. Just real quick, police sergeant gets a call for shots fired, goes and gets pizza. They say pizza and then there was an ATM. I think he went and did both. Apparently, he had some connection with some of the people involved in the shooting. Then he goes to the shooting and at late, actually gets there late, and then decides, hey, nothing going on here, and then leaves. I think I want to say 5 or 6 hours later, the police end up coming there again and find a double murder. Just wanted to give a little context. I don't know how clear the video was because having a little technical, but that's where we are right now.
Wow, you're right. I didn't get all of that from that, but thanks for clarifying that for those who are on Facebook Live. And first of all, let me say this to those on Facebook Live, thank you for joining us. And if you guys have any comments, I'm going to try to monitor both, try to host and monitor, but I got a little bit of help over there. So I have others that's looking at the face. I got Will Quick looking, and Tyrone is looking as well. So
I got it. Yes, sir.
So we're good with that. So let me just first start off by saying thank you for joining us, Donald Coleman, Ruth Caffey, Melissa Moss, Sutherland Moss, Richard Bowden, Eric Jones, Renee Henderson, JT, you're supposed to be on with us, Elliot Smith. All right, so we'll catch up to these comments in a second. Let me get Dave before he falls off on us. Let me just let you know Dave works at night, so he gets a little tired over there, but we're gonna keep poking the bear. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. That cop is that sergeant should, he should be ashamed of himself. You go to the ATM to get pizza money, then go get your pizza. Now you're waiting in there because you got a line, and meanwhile, these two victims could still be breathing in their home. They could still possibly be alive, dying, but possibly alive. Now nowadays they got GPS on all the police cars up in New York, even in my old unit in homicide. Back in the day they didn't, but back in the day when you got a shots fired job, the heavy hitters were coming. Okay, the heavy hitters were going. It's 11 cars deep showing up at that scene, and we going in the damn house. Okay, but nowadays, man, why don't you just get a job in the pizzeria? Okay, you're gonna get yourself. You're getting indicted. Okay, misconduct. You can even throw a cowardice in there. They throw that on our job back in the days. Guys got fired for cowardice, not refusing to get out of the car and seeing you out there fighting and banging, and they refuse to get out the car. They got written up for cowardice. But these two people could and maybe they would have stopped the officer for killing himself. But and then he knows the cop, and then he tries to cover stuff up, and man, the cover up will always get you, man. I don't give a damn who you are. Just take your medicine. The cover up will always get you, and it's wrong, man, because them people probably suffered, and they probably bled out later on in that house. I'm not sure how where he shot them or anything, but it's quite possible. They could have still been alive. And this dude is out there stopping off at the ATM and stopping off at Aldo's Pizzeria to get some pizza. Come on, man. It's just not professional, man. And they should know better because they have GPS. You have cameras. You have this. Yeah, street cameras. They know what you're doing. How stupid can you be? Thank you.
And Dave, he probably thought that he was good because he was a sergeant.
Yeah.
And probably thought that, they're not going to check me like they check the other officers. I'm the supervisor. So either way is just wrong.
Yeah.
Either way is wrong. Big D?
Wrong only begins to discuss what's going on here. This is culture, man. Those of you that can remember back to your uniform days can remember you wouldn't let a minute go by. You forget a shots fired. That's a shots fired. I'm backing down the Southern State Highway at 60 miles an hour backwards. A shot's fired. I'm just telling you how I used to roll. We and everybody here, you'd get any call, and your job is to get there as quick as possible. And sometimes you didn't pay attention to some of the rules and the regulations and some of the safety of yourself in the cars. You just gonna get there. Sometimes y'all know how we used to do on the stuff. We pop out the woods. Where y'all come from? It's like nah, kid. And if you beat me there, you got a shots fired, and Donald beats me there on my post, I'll never hear the end of it. Never. So we talk about dereliction of duty. It's far beyond that. There's something else going on here. Something deeper than I think we knew. I think he kind of knew what was going on. I think he was kind of complicit because when I had to watch it a few times. Wait, get pizza? Shots fired, get pizza? Those two things make my brain bleed. Shots fired, get pizza. Shots fired, get there. Shots fired, get there first. Is what registered. But go get pizza, wait. And I don't know if you guys understood me. He ended up getting to the scene and then leaving. It's not just he got there late and did what he had to do. That's bad enough. But then he left. And I think it was hours before they actually found the two people. And
he did a general canvas instead of knocking on the door, man. He just did
we know this.
The house looks good. I'm gone.
Yo, Davis here, my homicide detectives. On the shots fired, there's so much work to do. I can't leave.
Yeah.
There's so much work to do. You cannot.
Dave, you're on mute, Dave. Mute, Dave. Mute.
Yeah, your phone.
We going in the house regardless.
Oh yeah.
We going in the house. We taking the exigent circumstances all over that.
Yep. We going in.
Crazy. So I'm just when you hear about things like this is culture. This is people that are out there and they got a whole different mindset of what law enforcement and policing is. Later on, we got another video about something else that happened that I might have further information on this, but it's just culture. I don't want to call it the new guys or the young guys because I keep getting in trouble for that. But this is something that was unheard of. No. I've never thought in my 32 years, I said, did I ever have somebody that didn't go, that got pizza? Now, we had some slow rollers. We had a few slow rollers. And we would fly past them and then hold them to task later. Mm-hmm. But you never had somebody just totally had a dereliction of duty. So that's all this is. He don't deserve to be a police officer. He needs to get locked up. I said it. He need to go to jail. I'm sorry. I know jail is not a nice place for police to be, but there's some stuff. How did they say it? Some stuff you ain't got no business doing, and that's it.
All right, Ty, and then Rich.
Just take it a little further. What Dee said, and Mark and Donald can attest to this for us in Hempstead and Nassau County. We worked. I mean, even if I wasn't assigned to the call, I would go to the edge of my post just in case Don or Mark says, I need more cars. I'm already at the edge of my post. I can get there faster. So the fact that this guy, that's how we all thought. And how many times that I could get to the Sunset Parkway for a bad car accident, and it was the edge to the park was on my post, and there were two troopers there waiting for me. Ty, you got this? You good? I'm good. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I don't understand. I don't understand this at all, D. This is crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
Different.
I just want to piggyback on that with you.
Oh, you on mute?
You're on mute, Rev.
Go ahead, Rich. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just piggybacking on what the gentleman already said. It's this is a gross dereliction, and D can make a case for it being criminal somewhat, and I understand that. It's as we worked as police officers, as we all well know, there were certain individuals that you really didn't want to be with you in your call, or you knew you couldn't depend on them to act the right way, so you kind of shied away from them. If you couldn't pull his coattail in the locker room or get through to him, then you just kind of avoided them until I guess the department was able to, to smooth that person out or whatever, so we had people like that. I mean, I remember going to a call with shots fired on the northern part of our beat. I'm going code 3, going north from my beat because I'm like in the more southern beat, And then as I'm going north, I see another one of our units going code 3 going south. And I'm like, what the? So I get to the call, we handle things, we get guys under custody and this and that. Then that officer shows up at the scene and the sergeant's like, what the hell? I said, hey, I saw him going the other way, code 3, as I was coming north. They kind of handle his ass, but it's just, I just knew then this is not a guy I could depend on. And when you're out there doing your thing, you need people you can depend on, and that was a gross dereliction. And there's no two ways about it. And obviously it's a person you don't have any confidence in. And I don't know about some certain guys just aren't sure about what they're doing as police, because you just never know what call comes up. And that's the thing with us. But I mean, for most of us to do the job, that's the excitement, is that you never know what's going to come up, but you're prepared to handle it. You know what I mean? And that's that feeling, here is, you could be eating a piece of pizza, that call comes out, you got to throw your pizza in the garbage and head to that call. We all know that. How many meals have we had to drop to go to a call?
Too many.
Yeah.
How many cups of coffee did D School see me drop on Southern State Parkway?
Or spill in his lap. Trying to get there. But yeah, that's
Rich,
all I got, guys. Thanks.
But you're so right, Rich. It's like everything stops when you get a call like that. It's not like, do I go or don't I go? Listen, we have bosses that would get mad at you if you were in headquarters downstairs having lunch. And you heard something like that go on, they'd be like, man, get up and get out of here.
Right.
You come off lunch to do that.
That's right.
Exactly.
Can I say one thing also?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I want to clarify something to the general public listening, because he said something I didn't agree with when he said that it makes a bad stain on all police officers when this happens, because that is what people think. But the majority of the officers think like we think. The majority of us care about what we're doing. I would say like a good 89 and 90% of us are going to try what we're doing. I mean, I've thrown many a coffee out the window, going to a call because we just had Chinese food and threw it or whatever. I mean, so I want to he said that in the video, that it's a bad stain. It's a bad look for police officers, but it's not a stain on all officers, in my opinion. I just want to put it out there.
Okay. And we ain't have cup holders in some of these older cars, so when you had your coffee, it was in your hand. So that's why Tyrone was like, we got to get rid of it, But later on, like doing, the last few years, they got cup holders. They got everything up in there. You don't have to worry about spilling your coffee. Matter of fact, you come back, your coffee may be hotter than it was before you left. I'm just talking junk. Go ahead, Will. You on mute. Unmute yourself.
I had taken my hand down, but I'll chime in just a tad bit. Before I do, I'd like to just catch a couple of comments.
Thank you.
We got some folks that just, checking in and letting us know. Richard Bowden says, at least he didn't stop for donuts. Okay, Rich. Okay, we get it. We will always be forever connected, profession to food. We get it. We get it. And you know what? I'll eat a donut in uniform. You know why? Because most people that would complain about it are in worse shape than I am. So I'm good with that. As far as this situation goes, I want to hit it from a different perspective.
I like that.
With what we have seen regarding law enforcement departments, whether it is Eric Garner or George Floyd or the young lady in Kentucky, forgive me, her name is escaping me right now. We are struggling to balance perception of law enforcement. And so whether you want to believe it or not, there are actually, and somebody mentioned culture a minute ago, there are actually some cultures driven by elected officials that would prefer for us to be like children, seen and not heard. They want us to sit in the shadows and the cuts. you only come out, break glass in the case of emergency. And all of us probably are familiar, if not worked in an environment where we had one of those silent sergeants attached to your car that tracked your movement and everything. And the purpose of that was if you were stationary too long, then clearly you weren't doing anything while you were on duty. So it was all about tracking where you were relative to what your performance measurables were. The last agency that I worked for, I just found this out. Gentlemen and ladies that are listening, they are implementing some form of silent sergeant for this reason. The car is our office.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the weather is warm or the weather is hot.
Mm-hmm.
And the car is the environment that you operate in. They are issuing some variation of silent sergeant to determine how long a car is running on idle with the heat or air running in the interest of the carbon footprint that that car is leaving. I want you to grasp of what I'm saying here, because I'm not saying that it's related to this situation, but when you're an officer and the people that you answer to prioritize things other than public safety, and you have to capitulate to what their expectations are rather than the service of the community, there's a conflict of interest there. And unfortunately, in a lot of environments, the community will not speak up against elected officials. And so now, in the context of a law enforcement officer, you're pulled in two different directions. The best interest of protecting the community versus capitulating to the elected leadership who wants to get on the soapbox about a social issue where they've chosen to politicize it rather than work on solution.
I think you may get Mark Matthews to start talking, because that's right up Mark's alleyway right there when you start talking about political officials.
Bring it.
Look. I guess he's still sick, but that's up his alleyway right there. But that's amazing. I remember Mark actually saying, because when I was on the job, they didn't have any of that stuff on the cars and stuff. I don't know what they have now, but I remember him saying that the car was your office. The car belongs to the department. So you have a right to go in anybody's car to see what's in there and take out what's in there, because it belongs to the department, not to the person or not to the officer. So if I'm wrong, somebody let me know. But that's what I remember hearing.
And Don, you're right. But here's the thing. The car is my office. So I need it to be comfortable for me to do the work that I do relative to the ambient climate. So this place that I work for, the office building that, let's say, some of the administrative staff work for the town, if they got a call that the heat was out and the temperature was going to be sub-freezing, what would they do? They tell those folks, don't come into work today because your working environment is not conducive to you getting your work done. But you're telling officers you can't run your air condition in 95-degree temperatures when you're not actively on a call, whether you're writing a report or whatever the case may be. If you are running your air condition for a predetermined amount of time that is too long, that's going to be tracked. If you're running your heat and your car is running for a predetermined amount of time to keep your office comfortable, that's going to become a problem and an indictment against the officer.
Well, I definitely wasn't talking about that.
Yeah,
that right there, I'm with you 100% on that. I mean, that's my office. I need to be comfortable in my office. I mean,
that's the point.
Yeah, I mean, that right there, I have nothing to say about. I'm just talking about the part about it was just the office, not the conditions of the office, not the weather and the climate of the office, but just that car was your office, but it belonged to the department.
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
So Listen, I don't want to talk for Mark, but Mark used to always talk about how the politicians were always involved with stuff that they knew nothing about. I see you. I see you're nitpicking on stuff that you have no clue to what that officer is dealing with on the street. You know, I mean, and many of us were told years ago that our skin is supposed to be thicker, and this is outside the car. Skin is supposed to be thicker. We're supposed to be able to handle when they're talking this about you, call you this and call you that. But after a while, um, the skin layers has been exhausted, and there's no more layers to put on here, and you just can't take but so much, because you are human. Let me see who we got. Who we got on it? Anything?
I got one right here for you. Want me to read it for you right quick?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
Yeah.
my helper. You and Will.
Richard Bowden says, if he was military, he'd been court-martialed for dereliction of duty. When I was in the Air Force, they had hard labor. They put a big rock in the stockade, gave you a sledgehammer to make that big rock into a little rock. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
He said into little rocks, plural.
A lot of them.
Yeah. So and I think Richard was part of the military police too. So he understands a little bit about about the police department, and the secular world and military and government. Donald Coleman says,
yeah.
Go ahead, Ty. No, you go ahead.
I can say it now. I had great workout partners in the morning who was on the clock and they parked and worked out with me. I wonder who that was. I just drive by and say, I know what Donald at. Donald at Brownie Park hitting the weights.
I always, now some people might say some people might say that's good policing, some people probably say it's bad policing, but I always dealt with the community in some kind of way, whether I was on Union Avenue,
always,
wherever I was. I always just got out my car,
yes,
hung out with the people out there just to make sure that they understood that I was not out there to just lock them up and be the tough guy.
No,
but I wanted them to have a relationship with me to where if I did need them, I could use them. And guess what? There were plenty of times where the community made my job easy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, made my job easy because they knew that I wasn't just trying to usurp authority over them because I had it.
No.
They knew that I was really trying to protect the neighborhood, first of all, that I lived in.
Exactly.
That's the other part. So I always thought about that, man. Listen, no, they may not mess with me, but I have brothers, I have sisters, I have my mother, I have family. Right. I have family right there in the community. Why would I want to go out there and railroad these people and my family's going to have to deal with it later on?
Nah, man. And Donald will tell you, to the point where Pilar, another officer, and myself will get out at a scene, and it would be people looking like, wow, why are those kids listening to those two guys? It's because we knew everybody's name, and I played ball with them. Like I take my lunch break and go to the park and take out my vest, throw it in the back of my gun belt, and play ball for 20, 30 minutes with the kids. Because you never know, that one kid might save your life 5 years from now. So, am I right, Don?
Derek,
you never know.
Yeah. There's a real quick, Derek. Carl says this, Derek. Carl says, Derek, I don't know if you remember. He says, Reverend Donaway Butler, do you remember when you grabbed all of us together and we walked through Garden City? Derek, do you remember when I said that's what I wanted to do?
Yes, I remember you telling me that.
Listen, I want to walk through Garden City, because Garden City was known for harassing people of color.
Yes.
And we were right next to them. They would take you and your bike and throw you back in Hempstead.
Right. If you were walking, they tell you to get in the car, and they would drive you to the borderline and tell you to get out. And we couldn't play basketball in their park.
Nope. Derek, your screen is frozen.
I know. I'm about to get off and come back on. That's why I put my hand up to see if everything else was working. But
your hand didn't come up. Your hand didn't come up.
It came up over here. Okay. All right.
Okay. No, it didn't come up over here. D's hand is up. Go ahead, D.
All right, I just want to take that to another level. That's the way we did our job. We did all our investigations. We looked into things. We showed up at places. You did your thing with the community because the community always called you later. We understood we needed the
Mhm.
community to do our job. I don't know how many cases was saved, not only in Long Island, but when I was in New York City, because I spoke nicely to somebody who knew some information that somebody needed to further their case. And you get a
Mhm.
phone call. I'm not going to tell them who told me, but all I need to do, Dave, right, point you in the right direction. Dave will go through the door. I just got to show him which door to go through. So I think that's the way a lot of us. And if we have police officers listen, you got to do this job. It's not us against them. I never looked at it that way.
Mhm.
I play ball with these guys in the room. I play ball with so many kids. I was about to get on the track with my old self Saturday with the kids. I was out there with a bunch of kids. One of my little nephews was running. Wait a minute now. I was myself, but that's the way we do our job. We do our
You're doing
job. We
that.
get involved so that these people understand, you know what? When something happened on my block, I can call this guy. I'm not on that block. I'm not in Hempstead. But I can call up Don. I can call up Dave. I can
Mhm.
call up Ty. Hey Ty, nah, it's you need to look over here, and that's all
Mhm.
he needs. So what I wanted to say was, I know with this ICE and everything we got, it's us against them. You can't do the job that way. Let me help you out. 32-year veteran, 40 years been doing police associated work. You
Mhm.
can't do the job the way you're trying to do it. That's why you keep failing. That's why you on YouTube. Because you're trying to do the job different. We never, so many people, as many people as I put handcuffs on, 10 times that I let go. Because that's how you do the job. That's how the job is done. My job is not there to lock you up and beat you up and drag you down the street. My job is to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. Now, I got a lot of things I can do in between there. You want to work with me, you want to work against me. You want to work
Mhm.
against me, you got to go. You want to work with me, I can see you again. And
Mhm.
people, I'm going to tell you, the last thing I'm going to say is people remember that. And I'm going to say something that's really scary. I still get calls today.
Me too.
Today.
Me too.
I get called. Hey, I know, whoa. I know y'all don't know nothing happening in East Flatbush, but yo, all right. Thank you. I know where to push it to. Listen,
Mhm.
my man, yeah, I can't give you no more than this, but I can push you in the right direction. So if you do your job right, first of all, it never ends. But second of all, if you do your job right, you can actually get something accomplished.
That's true. Real quick, Derek, you will remember this also. I just saw a post on Facebook or something with District 33, and it says it has a picture. I guess it was a District 33 page, has a picture of a black kid and a white police officer, and the black kid has his hands up, and he's saying, "Don't shoot." And then it expands open, and the cop was out there shooting the basketball in back of District 33.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Derek and I used to do that a lot. We go back there
Yeah,
and
man.
play against the neighborhood,
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes.
playing ball. I know they did it years after I was gone, but I remember doing that a lot of times, a whole lot.
Yes. And the back door to our command. So if you walked into the locker room and walked into the gym, there was a door in the gym. It opened up into Kelly Park. So when you walked out, you were in the park.
You were in the park.
Yeah.
I got to find that post. It was hilarious to me because the black guy's like this. He's really like defending, but it looks like he has his hands up because don't shoot, and then you can see the cop just like. Let me go with Ty and Derek.
Really fast. Now Derek got his hand up already. Talked a few times. I just want to say that cops nowadays, they forget that protect and serve means everyone, including the person you've arrested. He may be under arrest, but you got to protect and serve him as well.
Yeah.
It means the entire community, not just and that separates you from regular police officers. That's all I want to say. Go ahead, D. Will.
All right, Derek.
Yeah, and Ty, you just took the words out of my mouth. I just wrote down that officers forget why they were hired. And when you're an officer, you're the face of the department. You're the front line. You represent the department. And when you go out there, you're supposed to represent the department well. And I know, according to many of the higher ups in the department, your first responsibility is to bring in revenue, but that's not really what it should be. And I remember I once had a conversation. I happened to be working with a white guy, and we were covering the Rockaway and Ralph Avenue train stations, which is Bed-Stuy, hardcore Bed-Stuy. And he was talking to me about, well, he brought up that, you know, the people in the neighborhood, I don't remember whether he called them mopes or mutts, but he was like, the people in this neighborhood, they're like a bunch of mopes or mutts, whatever he said. And I said to him, I said, you do realize that like probably more than 99% of the people in this neighborhood are really good people, and that in your scope of duty, you probably deal with less than 1% of the people. And he was like, yeah, you know, it's different. And he said, you wouldn't understand because you're not like them. And I said, I am them. I am them. And what's funny is Ralph Avenue is where I lived until I moved to Hempstead. That's when you walk up the stairs from the train station, you are looking at the building in Brevoort Projects that I lived in. You're literally looking at the building. I told him, I am them. I don't just represent them. I am them. But they don't seem to understand it. And it's not just, I said I happen to be working with a white guy, but I've worked with some black guys that feel the same way.
Same way.
It's not just the white guys. It's a professional opinion by some of these people. They just really forget where they came from, and they forget why they were hired.
Well, let me just say this real quick. Renee Henderson says the park behind 33 is completely different. The neighborhood has changed.
Wow.
Well, I don't know nothing about that, but that was a long time for me. That was almost, January would be 40 years for me.
Wow. And I last left District 33 in March of 2000, so it's been 25 years for me.
I left 89.
I know.
Yeah, I left there 89. So
Yeah.
wow. Right. Ralph Avenue is Brevoort Projects. Yep. What else was I gonna say? I think that was it. So someone threw a hand up. Who physically had their hand up? Nobody? Okay. Cheech got his hand up now. Go ahead, Cheech.
No, I didn't. I'm not sure what we were talking about, but when Derek said that, it took me back to an officer that will remain I will not say the name, but told me one time that, you know, I'm one of the good guys. Same thing, because he said I'm one of them, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, you know, you're not a gangster like all your people.
Oh Lord!
I said, a gangster? What do you mean? He's like, you know, all your people are MS-13. I'm like, no, they're not. You know, but
Right.
it's the same thing, and I think, unfortunately, some officers get tunnel vision because, like Derek said, you're dealing with that 1% all the time. You're not seeing the good people. You're not seeing the hard workers, the Salvadorians that are out there working their butts off and keeping clean. Because we don't end up dealing with those people. So all we see are the bad ones because that's what we're dealing with. And then you start thinking that everybody's that way, unfortunately. And that's
You're right.
all.
And Cheech, all your people can't be which gang was it?
MS-13.
All of them can't be MS-13s because some of them are Nietas, some of them are SWPs, some of them are Latin Kings. There's a whole bunch. So you can't even put everybody into one box that way.
Right.
You're right.
Derek, what you know about SWP?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, how you know about SWP?
They're all over the place. They were out there when I was working.
I thought they were only on Long
Now,
Island.
Bushwick is a heavily populated Latin King area, but they used to have run-ins with the SWPs and the Nietas. I mean, it was they've been around a long time.
Wow.
Well, Derek, you said something about it wasn't just the white officers. It reminds me of the movie, I think it was Boys in the Hood, when the white officer, the black officer, the black officer was acting a fool. Remember that?
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, and you're right, Derek. We've seen them before too.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I told you, and I'll say his name, Richard Chevalier. He was black.
Yep.
He was a Haitian guy, and he wasn't just one of the worst cops I've ever met. He's one of the worst people I've ever met. And he was a cop for many, many years. And, you know, until he had like 14, 15 years on and got fired. But he terrorized a lot of people in those years that he was on the job. And he actually had a run-in with two state troopers. And they were investigators, and it was in Bushwick. I think it was at the Grand or Graham Avenue train station. And him and another guy, Jamel Days, were working together in plain clothes. And they saw what they thought was a prostitute talking to the state police guy. He was sitting in his vehicle, and the young lady walked up to the vehicle. He was parked. And they go over to try to handle the situation. I don't know what they tried to handle, but they created a really, really big mess. And it was a big mess between the two departments because, you know, they got out of hand and the trooper defended himself. And but if Chevalier was there, I don't even have to be there to know how he approached the person, how he spoke to the person, and how he tried to handle the situation.
You know,
there was a professional bone in his body.
Yeah.
And on top of it, he couldn't even fight. So he would start all this stuff and couldn't fight. He got his nose broken by a woman. I mean, he was a sucker. Yeah, and I was one of the few people that used to tell him.
And he didn't he get in trouble in Hempstead?
He did, right. In the club in Hempstead. That's right.
Yes. over there by Newman's Court.
Yes.
Yeah, he was doing some stuff over there and got jammed up.
No level than women, man. I think the worst fight me and Mark had on duty was with a woman. Wasn't it, Mark? You see him laughing. You know I'm telling the truth.
Listen,
please. Donald can say that too.
Try not to hurt these women, man. He's doing us in, boy. Me and Mark try our best not to hurt this woman on post one.
Mark, you are sick. You're not supposed to be talking. And Mark is talking about Christmas morning. You know, we had that incident with the two sisters, and we were trying to break.
I've never heard that story. Oh, I've never.
Stop lying! Stop lying!
You share that with us.
That was a slick move, though, Rich. I don't mind. Mark and I had already planned. We already said, listen. See, people think you're trying to make an arrest, and Mark and I walked in talking about we are not making an arrest. I don't care what's going on. We're going home. We're not making an arrest. We're going there. These two sisters are fighting. We got to break them up. We're trying to break them up. Mark grabs one. I grab the other. You know, they stuck like glue. I'm talking about really like crazy glue. And they're stuck. Mark pull one way. I'll pull another way. All of a sudden, pop, they break loose. I'm pulling this way. I flip over a coffee table into the sofa, and the girl's in my lap. And the first thing I could do, I wasn't concerned about her. I want to see what Mark is doing. Y'all know Mark he don't stop. I don't care what's going on. He don't stop. I looked over, he's over there like this. He ain't said nothing then. And we tried to defuse it. They got back into it again. We had to lock him up, and we went from there. But he'll never let me forget it. Renee Henderson said Chevalier left in disgrace.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Wasn't he doing some stuff for Haiti? Like training?
Well, he initially stole money because he was trying to help Ava plan Chuck Bailey's retirement party, and he stole money from the retirement party fund. But when Ava approached him about it, he got mad and went to the ICO, the Integrity Control Officer, and gave him all the paperwork from the retirement party. And was like, Ava's trying to start some BS. I'm clean. I didn't do nothing. He gives him the paperwork, storms out of his office. And ICO was like, well, you got me involved now, so now I have to look into it. So he gets in his car and he drives down to Anton's because that's where the party was. And he asks, is this what was charged per person? Hello, little lady. Is this what was charged per person for the party? And he's like, this is what was charged. This is what was supposed to be charged. He said, as a matter of fact, the officer that I was dealing with just left here and told me if anybody comes here, don't say anything. So when Chevalier stormed out of ICO's office, he went right to Anton's, and then the ICO went there right after he left Anton's. So he got suspended for that. And while he was on suspension, he got caught at JFK trying to take bulletproof vests and Glocks to Haiti.
Mm.
Yeah, he had the Glocks taken apart in his luggage, and there was a few different Glocks, and he was trying to take them and several bulletproof vests to Haiti. He's a knucklehead.
Wow. Let me see. Eric Jones says different job, 39 years. Renee Henderson says Chevalier left in disgrace. She also said, Derek, didn't he steal money from Chuck's retirement party, which is what you just explained, right?
Yes. Mhm. Yep, that's what got the ball rolling for him stealing the money from Chuck's retirement party.
I think he came on with me or right after me, though, didn't he? I think
Right around that time, yep. Right, I think he came on with you.
I came on 86. I think he came on, he may have come on 86, 87.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around that time. I know he was close to me. Carl Saunders says, Derek, you are still putting those motorcycles on one wheel.
No, I don't ride anymore, Carl.
Bicycles, yeah. Motorcycles, no.
Yeah. Who do I have next? So we're going to the next thought. Let me see. Anybody with anything? All right. Next, D.
Okay.
What is next?
We're gonna do the gun laws.
Oh, let's go.
I know we always talk about people having possession of guns. I think it's important that everybody know the different gun laws and the different gun laws in their jurisdiction, especially when you're traveling. Recently, we had a slight change in the gun laws. Let's take a look.
What are the recent changes to New York gun laws? Have you been wondering about the latest updates to New York gun laws? Let's break down what has changed recently and how it impacts gun ownership in the state. One of the most significant updates is the enhancement of the red flag law. This law allows courts to issue extreme risk protection orders to temporarily remove firearms from individuals considered a threat to themselves or others. Starting in early 2025, new legislation requires courts to notify the statewide registry whenever an extreme risk protection order is issued. This aims to ensure that no orders slip through the cracks, improving enforcement. Since June 2022, nearly 14,000 extreme risk protection orders have been issued, leading to the seizure of over 9,000 firearms, including many classified as ghost guns, which are untraceable firearms made from parts. This law was strengthened after the tragic Buffalo mass shooting and is designed to help prevent gun violence by proactively removing firearms from high-risk individuals. Another important change involves firearm licensing. A bill passed in 2025 expands the scope of firearm licenses to include both concealed and open carry rights. This means that individuals with a license can carry firearms openly or concealed throughout New York under the same license. This change broadens the options for legal carry, making it easier for responsible gun owners to exercise their rights. New York continues to enforce its assault weapon registration system, which requires individuals to renew their registrations every 5 years. This system maintains strict controls on assault-style weapons, including prohibiting sales and transfers without proper registration. Additionally, New York has a licensing requirement for all gun possession, whether inside or outside the home. This reinforces the idea that lawful gun ownership in the state depends on obtaining the correct authorization. From a Republican viewpoint, these changes may be seen as further restrictions that complicate lawful gun ownership and carry rights. While the expansion of the red flag law aims to enhance public safety, it raises concerns about due process. Firearms can be seized based on perceived risk without a warrant, which some argue could lead to abuse. The requirement for constant registration renewals and broad licensing rules might be viewed as burdensome regulations that infringe on Second Amendment rights. However, the expansion to allow open carry under the same license as concealed carry could be seen as a positive step toward more consistent carry rights. Overall, the trend of increasing gun control measures is often criticized for not effectively addressing crime while limiting the freedoms of law-abiding citizens. For New Yorkers who own firearms, it is essential to stay informed about compliance with registration renewals and licensing rules. Being aware of the enhanced reporting and notification requirements tied to extreme risk protection orders is also crucial. The evolving legal landscape requires careful attention to avoid any inadvertent violations that could lead to penalties or loss of gun rights.
Information. Good, good, good. I know I had just been talking about something about what's that, concealed carry permits that I've been seeing all over Facebook and all over the place. I just didn't understand it, so I put it in our chat to see if someone else saw something that I didn't see. I really didn't understand that. If anyone has anything on that, please let us know, because I know one of our roll call members even right now was renewing his license to carry his gun right now in the state of New York. And he said, and some of those questions that he saw on that thing that they said that the president signed was the same question they were asking him for here in the state of New York. But I don't know much about it, so I just figured I would ask. If anyone knows anything about it, feel free to speak up. You try to say something, Will, because I think you were mute, but now you're unmuted. You got something to say?
You know, the discussion about gun control, and we've kind of gone over this from related discussions in the past, but it needs to be readdressed again because it has to be. But the only reason there's a discussion about gun control is because they were looking to control access to a certain group of people. If you do your research, the concept of any gun control laws related to American citizens above and beyond the rights and privileges established in the Second Amendment did not come to the forefront until the Civil Rights Movement. Somebody check me on my facts. If I'm wrong, then tell me. Let me know. So if it came to bear that you're starting to initiate rules to limit gun access when you are, I don't know, a convicted felon. That's not to say that I'm not in favor of reasonable gun reform. I hate the term gun control because most people, when you hear control, you automatically want to go into resistance and defense mode.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'll ever get away from that terminology, but I prefer the term gun reform.
Okay.
But if you want to go to the Second Amendment and stand on it exclusively for the way that it's written, if I am not incarcerated, even if I'm a convicted felon, show me where the Second Amendment tells me that being a convicted felon means that my gun ownership rights are revoked. Show me in the Second Amendment where that is. I'm not aware that it is included in that language. So now here we are in an environment where the only thing probably more prevalent than criminal conviction is potential mental unwellness, because let's face it, we have a mental crisis going on right now, probably far more people who are undiagnosed than are diagnosed. And that needs to come into the conversation with regards to reasonable gun reform. But unfortunately, a great number of people that would be impactful to are going to be the same ones that want to live by the letter of gun reform. So you can't have it both ways. You can't live by the letter of the Second Amendment when it benefits you and then apply it more loosely with these non-constitutional guidelines for different demographics.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, the only thing I would say is that even with the people that have issues mentally, it's not checked. It's not something that's checked, and I don't know if it can be, with HIPAA laws in place, but it's not checked. So even people that have mental issues, they can still carry guns. There's nothing to stop them from being able to carry a gun. Now, obviously when the gun stores or places that sell them do a check, they're looking at your criminal history, but they don't have your medical history. So it's still a danger,
You're right, Derek, but the red flag laws were specifically put into place because of what would otherwise be protected by HIPAA in the interest of public safety. Right. But overwhelmingly, a certain social or political leaning doesn't want to have any of those guidelines in place. They would rather run the risk of individuals who are mentally unwell, and then they get out here and commit a crime involving a gun, and now it becomes a felony gun or an unlawful gun because of the crime that they committed with it. But they would turn around and utilize their mental unwellness as a mitigating factor. Everyone doesn't get the luxury of using mental unwellness as a legitimate mitigating factor. And unfortunately, the line for that is demographically based.
Yes. Yes.
That's
and I know where you're coming from, Will. And with some people, when they commit the crime, before they even get to court, the media is making excuses for them. We've seen it. The media is
to that point. Right here in North Carolina, we had an officer who was working at the hospital who lost his life after an encounter with a young man that was there. And it seems like everything's kind of on the hush hush. They just laid him to rest last week. But there has not been, the young man did not bring a weapon into the hospital. The weapon that was utilized to take the officer's life was his own duty weapon. They haven't explained whether or not the young man attacked the officer and took his weapon, or if the weapon was produced by the officer and now made a part of the conflict. But the young man was unarmed when he came into the hospital throughout the conflict.
Right. He came in with a mental issue, and his family said so. He's well known in the community, well loved in the community. And they did come out and say, there's actually a couple of videos out on it, that the officer approached him with his gun in one hand, grabbed him by his neck with his other hand. So now they start to tussle, and the officer shoots him in the stomach. The officer shot him first in the stomach. They continued to tussle, and the officer ended up shooting himself twice. And the witnesses said the gun never left the cop's hand. He had his hand on the gun, his finger on the trigger the whole time they were tussling over it. And there were 3 shots fired, one into the mentally ill young gentleman, and the officer actually hit himself twice. And I think
they're talking about charging him with first-degree murder, right?
Yeah, I know. And I think the second one hit him in the leg, and it hit his brachial artery, and he bled out. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
but the gun never left the officer's hand, and the officer's finger was on the trigger. They were just tussling, and the officer shot the guy first and shot himself twice.
Come on, D, give it to us again like you've given it to us in the past. Come on, D.
Hey, listen.
Well, listen. Richard Bowden says again, as a Republican, and that's what he is. He's a Republican. I see nothing wrong with the New York gun laws. responsible gun owners will obey the law. The gun control laws were originally established to keep blacks from owning firearms is what Will just actually went through. But he had that posted, Will, before you even said it. He had that sitting over there. So you guys on the same page. And this is maybe not be the most popular thing to say, but I'll say it anyway. I'm a registered Democrat with a lot of Republican views. And I think Rich called me a blue dog Democrat. That's what you called me? A blue dog Democrat. Whatever that means. But I accept that because I do have conservative views on a lot of stuff, that some of us don't even agree on, but that's my way, and I just lean that way. But D, you go ahead, and Will, I'm about to send you a quick message, but it's gonna go to everybody, but just so everybody will know what's going on. I got to do something real quick.
I think Don, what you said is true. Why do we have to be on one side or the other?
Right.
I just voted, and I don't know about y'all, but I got my ballot. I actually read it, and some people agree with what I like to do, and some people don't. And those are the people I voted for. Had nothing to do with Republican or Democrat. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You get on the but now you're a blue dog. What? You're a voter. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to look at the if somebody on either side says something that I like and I like that they're going to do, I'm voting for that person. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. If you
right.
I got different views sometimes. Sometimes I feel differently about things. And I think because we got a lot of people watching, stop the BS. Stop jumping on one side, and whatever that side does, wherever that side whoever's pants that side puts his hands down, you good with it.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the issues. Here's an idea. Do a little research. Listen to the issues and find out if it's something that you like, and then you make your decision. I might be a bluegrass red devil. Sometimes I actually have to look to see. Oh, did I check the wrong box? Because I'm looking for a name. I'm not necessarily looking for where it is. So we got to get back to that. I think this takes us back to our next video when we talk about this. This is a great segue into our next video. There was a football game this weekend, South Carolina and Texas.
I'm with it.
And the reason I say stop jumping on one side or the other, I like football first. And if somebody makes a good play, they make a good play no matter where they're from. But we had a law enforcement officer down in Texas take matters into his own hands. And this is a good discussion for this room because all of us have worked sports events. And there's a certain way you do that. And this ain't it. Let's take a look.
A viral moment unfolded during the game between Texas A&M and South Carolina yesterday that has a lot of people talking, and it's even led to a response from law enforcement and apparently someone from their agency being removed from an assignment as a result of an off-the-field confrontation with a South Carolina player. Here's what we know. It was a massive SEC matchup between Texas A&M and South Carolina, and it was a wild comeback win for the Aggies. But the biggest story coming out of that game wasn't the final score. The biggest story was the absolute mess on the sidelines where a Texas State trooper who was supposed to be working security ended up getting himself sent home and placed under investigation after a bizarre confrontation with a South Carolina player. So here's exactly what went down. It was late in the second quarter. South Carolina was dominating the number 3 ranked Texas A&M, and they just scored again. The players are hyped, running out of the tunnel and celebrating. And as you can see, as they're running, a Texas Department of Public Safety trooper decides he's not going to wait. He just walks right through the line of players. He makes contact and appears to shove wide receiver Nick Harbor, the same guy who had just scored the touchdown and was celebrating. But it doesn't just end there. After the contact between the two, the trooper turns back and appears to start yelling at Harbor, who seems confused by the situation. Didn't appear that he saw him there. Thankfully, a South Carolina teammate steps in, grabs Harbor, and they just keep moving back towards the field, de-escalating the situation involving that trooper. There's been a lot of conversation about this online, analyzing the situation, and this wasn't the only strange incident on the sideline. Right before that, as Harbor was actually scoring the touchdown, the cameras caught someone from Texas A&M in an all-white uniform appearing to slap the ball out of Harbor's hand as he crossed the goal line. So maybe you have these people, including law enforcement, heavily in favor of Texas A&M where they're based. And the entire thing was shown on the ESPN broadcast. Of course, it immediately went viral with a lot of people criticizing the trooper, pointing out they say that he initiated the contact and then had an over-the-top reaction. Now, the backlash happened so fast that officials actually issued a response in the middle of the game. The Texas A&M University Police Department jumped on social media to clarify that it wasn't one of their officers. They said, quote, "We are aware of the incident in the Northeast Tunnel involving a DPS trooper. He has been relieved of his game day assignment over that heated confrontation." And a short time later, the trooper's actual agency, the Texas Department of Public Safety, released their own statement, striking an even more serious tone. They said, quote, "The Texas Department of Public Safety is aware of the incident that occurred today during the Texas A&M football game. The DPS trooper involved was sent home from the game. Our Office of Inspector General is also aware of the incident and will be looking into the matter further." So, you have the trooper here. Obviously, his job is to be on the sideline protecting the players, not getting into confrontations with them. And look, who knows, maybe he's a big Texas A&M fan, but a good job de-escalating the situation by the teammate there. Could have gone a lot worse, and he had just scored a touchdown, was celebrating there in the tunnel. Let me know what you all think about this, and as always, be sure to subscribe.
Dave, Don is on siesta for a moment. What you got?
Oh, yeah, I saw that game because everybody on here knows I'm a big college football guy. I played it, man. And, you go to these stadiums, man, and they got their own security. There's some stadiums we played in that had their own police. We didn't have that. Our campus police, man, they just stayed the hell out of the way. But anyway, when Nick Harbor took that touchdown with 80-something yards, man, he was slowing down in the end. He got in the end zone, slowed down. The guy swatted him over there. It didn't look like he appeared to cramp up a little bit in his thigh. So he runs up the tunnel. His teammates run over there, grab him. And you can clearly see that Texas State trooper was pissed off because they was getting drubbed in the first half. Okay? They were getting drubbed. They lost. It was 30-3 at halftime. Okay, so anyway, he goes over there and he not only does he hit Nick Harbor, he brushes the other young guy too. I don't want people in football games putting hands on people's kids. Okay, I don't give a damn who you are. You don't put your hands on the athletes. Athletes ain't doing nothing to you. They just playing. You just enjoying the game. You're mad right now because your team is losing, but you don't put your hand on the athletes. Okay, that happens a lot in the pros I see now too. People putting hands on athletes. Okay, but he scored that and that trooper said. But what really pissed me off was there was a podcast or some shit, and Johnny Manziel was on there with what's the Shannon Sharp and all. Johnny Manziel started off. In the end, he fucking woke up and smelled the coffee. But he started off and said, "This is our house. Nobody does this to us in our house." Like, that boy should know this is our house. Talking about the damn player. Mm-hmm. So they tightened his ass up on the show and said, "Wait a minute, man, you can't put your hands on nobody's kids, especially you, Johnny Manziel, with all the damn run-ins you had with cops in Texas that let you off." But anyway, But what South Carolina's coach didn't say one comment on that after the game this week, last week. He didn't make one comment about that. And then, anyway, Texas A&M came back because I believe that quarterback on Texas A&M is the best quarterback in the country. Marcel Reed, he's gonna get the Heisman. I'm done.
D, what's up?
All right, you got
you're muted.
Well, you got
rewind.
D. You got D and Derek. D and Derek.
So real quick, just want to say two really quick things. The first thing is, a lot of people don't understand with law enforcement. Let's get it back to law enforcement. Our uniforms are the color they are for a reason. It's not some two guys in the back deciding they want to look a certain way. There's a reason the state police uniform is gray. It's a mixture of all the colors. We got to stop jumping. This trooper was on somebody's side. I'm at a game. I am there to keep people safe at the game. The South Carolina guys, as well as the Texas A&M guys. I got to keep the people on the stage at the concert and the people in the audience. Everybody's my responsibility. We start to, like I was saying on the last video, everybody's jumping on sides. You can't do your job that way. You look crazy. Pushing a football player, walking in front, you move out of the way. Any of us that play collegiate sports understand, listen, when I'm in the game, I don't see nothing. I don't hear nothing other than what's going on the court. I don't see anything outside. So this is not a police officer player situation here. You're out of your depth because you're upset at a team. You should have taken your uniform off and went home. That was your job that day. If you can't be objective at a bat while you're doing your job, that's why people supporting this one and supporting that way. And we go, when did we start doing that? When did law enforcement start supporting teams? Dave said he thinks the Texas A&M quarterback is the best in the country. But if Dave is on that field, he's protecting both quarterbacks. If he got to tackle the best quarterback because he's trying to hurt the other quarterback, that's going to happen. We got to stop jumping on a side because it doesn't stop at the little bit of side that you're on. Now you're beating up kids at a collegiate football team. Officer, you look crazy. You look crazy. And I know you guys are of a different agency than I am. When I was working, we don't, somebody's going to put hands on him. Listen, you don't do that. What are you doing? You're making us all look bad. Get on the field and cover your water. You lifeguards know what I'm talking about. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be pushing on players. You're not supposed to be in the tunnel pushing on players. Guess what? The tunnel is where they go in and come out. Guess what? There's going to be some players there. Guess what? If you up there, you're going to be in the way. So I'm saying that to say, and I'm going to wrap it up by saying, listen, if you don't stop it up here, it's going to get to the place where it's going to, like this guy, now it's affecting your job. He'll never do another game. You guys know.
Yeah.
You just, yeah, you don't have to say less. You done hurt him. You'll never do another game. You'll never do another concert. That's arguably 30% of our jobs. I know when I was out here with you guys, we were down on Jones Beach and the Nassau Coliseum. That's the job. Listen, that's once a week. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get some furniture. You know, so you got to do your job, man, and that ain't it.
You're right on point with that, D. And last thing you want to do is get pulled from an event. You know that's yeah, because I used to go to football games, basketball games, lacrosse games, soccer games. I went to all of that stuff, and I'm glad they didn't pull me. Derek and Jim, welcome, Jim.
Man, And as far as going to the games, every time my wife and I go to a game, whether it's a professional basketball game or whether it's a high school basketball game, a high school football game, we go and I see the cops there. I tell her, this guy's got a good detail here. If you can be there watching the game and getting paid for it, and you don't have to be a slave to that radio, that is a good day right there in the uniform.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
This cop was flat out a jackass. One of the things that I would like to see, and we probably will never see it in my lifetime, if ever, is we need to start seeing police officers get charged the way a normal citizen would or a normal civilian. If one of these kids, particularly a black young man, had gone up to some cop and elbowed him in his side, it's going to be an assault. He's going to get arrested. And the cop should be arrested. There shouldn't be any treatment that's any different for one faction versus the other. And also, if the kids would have done it, there would be no excuses made for them. There wouldn't be, well, he's a fan, his team was getting beat badly, because that was all over the news. That was all over the sports channels. You know, his team was getting beat bad. He was frustrated. Listen, if a black young man had done that to a police officer or had done it to anyone, he would have been a thug and an animal. That's what he would have been. And that's basically what this cop was, but he hasn't been treated like that. He did get removed from future games. He'll never do the games again. That's in the news. And the South Carolina coach came out a day or two later, and he said that he's glad that it was handled the right way. So, I guess he felt the right way is having the guy removed from future games. But it's really interesting that this is what we saw that this guy did in front of 60,000 people plus a TV audience. What happens when no one's looking? What happens?
Wow. There you go.
Right. Because there's a lot of stuff that's going on when the camera's on there.
You got it, Derek. Listen, I'm speaking. Listen, you just opened up a whole can of worms right there. You just really opened up. But it's not my turn. With Jim and Will.
Yeah, I sorry I came on late. I just got in. But I know the incident. I caught the end of that, and I know what that incident was. But as a huge college football fan, there's something that's been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. My family could tell you, I argue about it all the time. And that's these college coaches seem to think that they need 3 and 4 and sometimes 5 cops surrounding them after a game.
Yeah.
And if you look at their uniforms, they're not even the cops from that state. They bring them on the bus with them from Alabama and all these they have no jurisdiction whatsoever on that field. There they are in full uniform. Most of us in New York know you can't work side work in uniform, but down there they can. Yes. And they come on there, and you got the state of Alabama trooper and the Montgomery City police guy. They're all surrounding the coaches, and it's actually become like a badge of honor. What coach could have more cops surrounding him? And it drives me crazy. I know I'm off on a tangent on something crazy, but it drives me nuts that these coaches act like they need all these cops surrounding them. And it's only a matter of time before one of these cops does something and doesn't realize you're not in the state of Alabama. You're in New Jersey. They're not going to take kindly to your actions because you're a civilian, sir. So, Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Jim, real quick before you get going, you said that we're not allowed to do the second job
work because I did a little survey because it's my pet peeve, and those cops that I'm talking about, that's side work. They're not there assigned by their municipality. That state of Alabama trooper that's surrounding the Alabama coach in Rutgers is there on his own time, not on. He's getting
that
side pay. Right.
That I understand, but in New York you can't do it because don't they
No,
do that?
New York,
like,
you can't. Well, I mean, I maybe in some sections of New York you can, but we know that we could never do
that's right.
side
We
work
couldn't.
in uniform. I don't know about
Right.
this. I didn't think the city could either, but maybe they
No,
had some.
but I wouldn't
The
even go with
city
the
does
city.
it now. It's called paid detail unit. The city does it now. Yeah, they've been doing
Yeah.
it probably the last
But
15
is it, Derek, is that in general or is it only specific things?
specific things, and it goes. You have to go. You get assigned through the department.
Okay.
Remember,
All right. That,
remember that cop that was working in the bank or something that was killed on, that was his second job. He was on his second job at
He
that
was
time.
doing paid
I
detail.
remember. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
But I was even thinking about, what about like in Mutton Town, Sands Point? Don't they put their cars at these big houses for security purposes and get paid for it?
You're probably right. You know, I think Hempstead.
Yeah, and I'm even thinking out where I am, out in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold up now. I think they do it in
No,
uniform.
I can tell the town of Southampton is not allowed.
The town though, all right.
Not
the
allowed.
town though. I know that I know you would know that.
That
but I'm saying, there's other places. I was like, man, matter of fact, I ain't gonna say it on the air, but I will say it to you when we get off the air. Yeah. So thank you so much. Who we have? Will and Mark. Will and Mark.
To your point that you made, Jim, a head coach at a big time high profile school such as Texas A&M or South Carolina, what they usually do, you look at the officers that are with them, they're always state officers, whether it's state highway patrol, like for instance, North Carolina, or states that have the overall state police moniker. Our highway patrol typically just does just that, highway patrol, traffic enforcement, but they are considered the creme de la creme as far as representation. They have statewide jurisdiction. So they get those jobs in uniform to go accompany those coaches. Now, in this situation, with what happened at Texas A&M, to give our listeners and our watchers some context, there was more to it. Texas A&M right now is a team this late in the season that is vying for a position in the college football playoffs. And not only vying for a position, they are vying for a bye, which gives them a first round bye when the playoffs would go down. So they are considered a strong national championship candidate. They lose this game at home to South Carolina. That hurts their chances of a bye tremendously. So there's these things that I'm sure this officer certainly knew at the time that this happened. So in my observation, this officer was in his emotions inappropriately, because your emotions and your job to that point in his performance don't match up. You don't bring your emotions into that. But as Dee or Derek pointed out, my concern is, what type of cat is he out on the street day in and day out? Because right now, because I think that game was broadcast on ESPN, that guy should lose his job. Yes. I can't trust him if that's the way he's going to act on live TV that goes out to however many millions of watchers. If that's the way you're going to act, what are you going to do on the side of the road? He can't work for me no more.
Yeah.
He got to go.
Whew. My goodness. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Will. Thank you all for your participation. Mark, you're up.
Yeah, I think he just made a simple mistake, the trooper. He forgot what uniform he was wearing. What he was wearing, his white sheets. Wearing his uniform. I'm done.
Listen, I knew where you were going when you said that. I knew it. I said, Mark is going to take us someplace else. Listen, thank you guys for joining us. It's almost a witching hour, like a minute before. And we're always minutes after, so it's all right to be a minute before, but by the time we get off, it'll be 4:30. Thank you guys so much. What is that, Rich? What is that, Will? We can't see it.
catch a couple of the comments. Richard Bowden commented for you, Donald.
Oh
He
yeah, I
said,
saw that too. Go ahead.
Yeah, he said, with your conservative views, that makes you a dino, Democrat in name only. And Karen
I told you,
said,
I told you he was a Republican, didn't I? Did I tell y'all?
Yeah. And Karen Caffey said, all you can do with Manziel is shake your head, and she 100% correct.
Listen, go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, just real quick. I want to thank D for his presentation on Veterans Day when we celebrated. He highlighted me and JT. I appreciate that. Just to add on to it, above my head here at the Veterans Crisis Line, there's a lot of veterans that are here, that are on the streets at home, going through stuff. If you're going through something very critical, and you feel like you can't make it or you can't go another day without, something happening for you, reach out. And there's the number. Give them a call, see if they can help you out. I'm just to reach out to veterans. Thank you.
We definitely appreciate anything that's going to help someone out. We definitely appreciate that. And because you said it, I'm going to go there as well. D, thank you so much for what you do as far as technology is concerned. This show is a different show because of what you're really doing. When we started, we didn't have this baby powder blue background. We didn't have the helicopter coming across and, the announcing roll call. We didn't have the memorial service going on. We didn't have all that stuff, but your mind is taking us there, and it seems like you enjoy doing that. So you're probably one of the only ones that can't be fired. But seriously, thank you so much for your assistance. And then to the rest of you guys, thank you for making time weekly to be here with us. I mean, it means the world to me. And we all know that everyone's human. We can't make it every week. I even have my issues where I can't make it every week, and I lean on you guys to fill in. I appreciate it. Last but not least, thank you to those on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Thank you so much for jumping, and on Facebook too, because on Facebook Live and then on my personal page, Facebook, and then on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us each and every week. Our numbers have gone up, and we really do appreciate it. Tell your friends, tell your families to join in, and we do try to get to these comments as much as we can. I'm just going to have to share it a little bit more. I know I can't do it all. So today I had Ty and Will helping me out. And I'm sure others were looking like Cheech. But Cheech is driving today, so he can't do it today. But normally Cheech is also looking as well. So so thank you guys so much for everything that you're doing. Next week is Thanksgiving, right? Next week, Thursday, right?
Yes.
Oh, we will not be on next week, y'all. Listen, we will not be on next week, Thursday. So let me say happy Thanksgiving to everyone right now. Let me say that Thanksgiving Day is not the only day to be thankful. Every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Not just that one day that the United States recognizes as a day of Thanksgiving. We are thankful for every day that we are here and above ground. We thank God for that. Anybody have anything to say before I close us out, or
Just to piggyback on you, Don, let's make Thanksgiving a purpose and not just a day. Let's make it a purpose and not just a day. Whether it's in your prayer life, whether it's in your opportunity to be a blessing to someone else, let's make it a purpose and not just a day.
That's so true. And I could tell you this right now, my fraternity and my church are having a food drive to send food over to Jamaica. So we have at my church, I'm dealing with my church, First Baptist Church Southampton, and Friendship Baptist Church in Riverhead. We're collecting food items, non-perishable items that we could send over there. And my fraternity, we're doing the same thing. So it's not just one day. It's every day. We're just trying to, when we hear of a need, we try to be a blessing to that need. And for those who want to come on out there on December 7th, first Sunday, come on out there. D gonna be out there. D gonna come out there and examine my church and look for security leaks. So Reverend Camp, if you know someone who needs that, if you need it yourself, that's what D does in his professional services. He looks and look at our church and tells us where we can really use some help, and maybe we need to look at this and look at that, and keep your churches safe. So that's what he's gonna do for us, and I appreciate that. That's gonna be on the first Sunday in December 7th. All right. Anybody else with anything? Who did I lose? Somebody fell off. Who fell off? Cheech? Nope. All right. Listen. All right. Camp, do you mind closing us out in prayer? Y'all really don't understand. Camp has one of those minds that he's different from me in the sense that anyone who's seen me preach or heard me preach, you'll see me. I have a manuscript there. Well, Reverend Larry Camp doesn't have a manuscript. His manuscript is right up in here. I'm talking about if you put him on the spot, he's gonna kill it. I'm telling you right now. You put him in front of a congregation, tell him what you want to talk about, it's all over. It's a done deal. He just did something on Sunday night that just blew me away. So go ahead, Reverend Camp. It's in your hands.
But I love the discipline of manuscript preachers. I just want to say that. I love the discipline of manuscript preaching. Eternal God, we are thankful for this day. We're thankful for every day that you have given us. We pray for all of these that who are on and their family, and the community that surrounds them. I pray, Lord, that you would grant them great health and peace of mind above everything. I pray that you would settle them in spirit. And I pray, Lord, that you would keep them not only in your hands, but keep them in a real sense of your spirit.
Yeah.
Lord, that as you continue to keep them, that you would be glorified in their lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And